That's happy days. So I tell you what, I am going to hit start streaming right now, and then we'll see if it works or not. So howdy, I'm Matt. Welcome to this live event, and I've just seen a mate over there. Right, let's get ourselves onto the topic. Hi, I'm Matt. Thank you very much for joining me for this live unboxing. This is where you get to decide, and it's a community vote, whether we are dealing with a bird or a turd. And as you know, this is a serious reviews YouTube channel, and there will be no mucking around or taking a piss at all. Right, sound good, Zenith? I appreciate that as well. Right, like I said, this is a live version. There is a live chat running along the right-hand side of your screen. If you have any questions or comments as we go along, please do feel free to get involved with what we're doing. Just be aware, if I do miss your question or comment, I do apologise. I'm here trying to present and keep an eye on your comments over here as well at the same time. Now, the topic of this evening's live unboxing is, let me get this right, is an Explorer ZSX-750. Now, the first bit makes no sense at all, but the 750 does. That means that it's a 75 centimetre or 750 millimetre wingspan, which is about 29.5 inches. We are also going to be running this model head-to-head with a Mini Skywalker. Now, I was looking at the prices of these earlier. This model was $35 plus postage. I think it was about $7. This model for me right now on the Hobby King website is, and that's the Mini Skywalker, is $29 plus shipping, which will be about the same. So we're only talking about $5 difference, and that is going to be the curiosity to pit these against each other, because I'm in the camp that I think it might be a bit of a brown one. And I know that many others, like Austin, for example, reckons it's going to be quite a bird. So we don't know yet. We'll be taking a look as we go along. Right. If I start doing shout-outs, I'll be here all evening. So let's move along. Now, a little bit of housekeeping first. Before we go any further, I want to stress this model was bought out of my own money for my own abuses. This was not a freebie for review. I want to make that absolutely clear from the very beginning. What else we got? Oh, this is actually being classed as Model Monday because Matt was really busy over the weekend and I've not managed to do a Model Monday yet. So I'm doing a live event instead, so happy days from that one. So do look out for a Model Monday later this week. I kind of gave you a hint that Model Mondays might be Model Wednesdays, you know. It's just the way the cookie's rolling at the moment. I've got to balance work, private life, and YouTube all together. Yeah, any questions or comments which you've got, please just ask along as we go along. Also in the top right-hand corner of your screen, there's a little eye icon in the top, okay? If you click that icon, there is a vote option, and you, as a community, get the option to pass a vote whether this model is a bird or a turd. So do keep that back in your mind. Don't vote straight away. I know some of you may have gone in there and clicked turd. Don't do it just yet. Please show some restraint, but we will take a look at the vote in the RC Coffee Chat on Wednesday. So with that, let's go and get ourselves in there. So have a quick look. Let's have a quick look on your chat on there as we go along. Right. Let's just go for it. Now, I'll give you a little hint. I did have a sneaky peek on this one earlier, and I have just gone in. I just pulled the box out and just had a quick nose. Now, this isn't going to be anything mental. I don't think we're going to have a Fluttergate scandal with this one, because let's face it, it was $35 of foam, and from the straight from the off, the premise is that it's going to be a small light model. It's not going to do a ton, and then when it gets to 101 miles an hour, it's going to flap like a bird. No, this is a tiny little model. And the instructions, by the way, I had shock horror. I actually had a quick read of the instructions. It's not complete Chinglish. I think there was one spelling mistake which I noticed in there, which if you can consider like a Chinese manual, I'll pick something on there. After alignment of the wings, fix them with screws. It kind of makes sense. Oh, one oddity. Let me put this again. We've got a top viewer camera, which you can see in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. Is that, yeah, we've got to put a screw through the bottom of the model to attach the wings. Bit weird, but the instructions weren't that bad. One annoying thing, it doesn't actually give you a centre of gravity on the front of the model. And by the way, model manufacturers who are watching this, please put the CG on the front of the instructions, because people like Matt, who's age 12 and 1/4, goes, oh, where's the CG? And that's the only thing which they're reading this for, to find out the centre of gravity. So yeah, a little bit of feedback on that one. We'll get this one open as we go along. Yes, Julian, I have been known to read instructions. 470 centre of gravity. By the way, it comes with stickers. Great. As many of you know, I'm not really a big fan of stickers, and as such, they normally get binned straight away. Ooh, hello. Don't we all like a new screwdriver? Let's ignore the model for a moment. Have a look at a piece of clear perspex and a bit of metal in there. That looks like a good one. That's a nice touch. It comes with a screwdriver. Happy days, I'm not going to argue with that. The plastic pieces are apparently ABS plastic. I did see that in the description earlier. Chris says, rather than a flutter and sine wave. Yes, absolutely. Let's have a quick look at these parts in here. The control horns, oh blimey, are not the utter rubbish ones. Now, with the Mini Skywalker, one of my pet complaints about the Mini Skywalker and models like that is what you get is normally, and let me just show you up here on the top camera, is you'll normally only get the control horn like so. And I think, yeah, that's coming out like that. But these ones, you've actually got the clip which goes on the opposite side. So there's a physical restraint which is going to help stop pull the control horn out of the surface. Now, you may be thinking, Matt, this is only ever going to be like a 2S model. It's not built for speed or anything like that. But you've got to imagine, even if you gave this model, even if you did treat this model as just like a little trainer model for maybe your daughter, like perhaps that's what that one's going to be used for me, is that, yeah, nice parts, by the way. I'm just there flexing that one away. And there's a funny little lid. And again, hence that's probably why we got so many screws. I think that's to cover the motor on the top. We'll find out in a moment. But on a serious point of view, those control surfaces and those control horns are a vital part to the model staying in the sky. And on first impressions, you think, well, Matt, you're making a mountain out of a molehill. But no, I'm being serious, because if you hit something or you have an unscheduled landing, which we all have as pilots from time to time, some more often than others, is that those control horns could come loose, and the top clip on the back is that extra little safety net to ensure or to limit that from happening with models. So that's always a positive sign. By the way, this model is that's EPO foam. Right. Right. By the way, this model is supposed to be, sorry, this is EPP. The model is supposed to be EPO foam. I'll confirm that in a moment. But this lid is made out of black EPP foam, which is the tougher stuff. And the reason why I know it's EPP foam is because if you look in there at those crystals or the little bubbles in there, that is EPO foam. So that's a nice touch. And by the way, as we know, normally we would prefer an EPP model because it's tougher compared to EPO foam. But then we also like EPO foam because it's lighter than EPP. So it's always a fine balance between these things. And to be honest, they probably made it out of EPO because it might have been cheaper or easier to mould a smaller part like that. Hey ho, just gonna go on and have a nose. Oh, we get some glue. Is it the good stuff? But that's a nice touch they've included the glue. Probably won't use it if I'm honest. Oh, that's the good stuff. You know, the good quality branded Chinesium glue. That will go in my personal stash. And you should never sniff glue because it's dangerous and it's not cool. Right, let's move on there. Yeah, Joe Barnett is actually, and you can see the instruction on there. How could it be to mark the mould with the CG? Absolutely. It should be very simple. We will take, I'll tell you what, let's pull the wings out now and we'll see if they, oh look. Look at that. I think that might be the CG mark. Can you see that? Is that coming out on the light? How hard can that be? If you think about a couple of models which somebody's done an unbiased review on lately, and none of them have had CG marks on the bottom of it, and this is a $35, 30 quid tops kind of model, and they've gone to the point of putting a CG mark on there. I am going to point out that I'm not particularly impressed by the foam which they've gone through there. I'm guessing, yes, I'm right, it's because there's a spar to go through there. But a $35 kit from an unknown company have managed to get it right compared to maybe a brand beginning with D, for example. So we use that as a reference. Let's take a quick look at the wing. And again, it's not going to be a massive one. It's not going to be a fast one. It does have some dihedral built into the wing. We'll get into that in just a moment. Now, it is a T-tail, and as many of you know, and probably agree with me, T-tails are the most stupid model construction ever created. And the reason for that is because these T-tails just, they break for a pastime. They really do. My original Mini Skywalker, which is here somewhere, I'm looking over there for it, the tail's really, really weak on it. And actually, I'll just make a point here and show you the bottom of the T-tail. Again, I hope that's coming out on the camera okay for you. You'll see that what I've been and done on my Mini Skywalker is put some carbon rods up here in the tail section. And I've also, which you can only just about see in here, there's a piece of carbon fibre just here in the tail section. And there's another piece of carbon in here too. Because the whole T-tail section is really, really flimsy. We also have a unidirectional thrust vectoring motor on the back. This one is in the repair pile at the moment, so I've just fished her out just for the purposes of this live video. Right, so just a quick recap. Those of you which have just been enjoying this live, this is a serious unboxing. No piss will be taken at all. Remember, there is a community vote. You get to vote on this model, whether it's a bird or a turd. You can do that in the top right-hand corner of your screen. Click on the eye icon, and you get to vote whether this is a bird or a turd, and we will review the vote on Wednesday's live RC coffee chat. So I think that's the... Ooh. We got some nice little push rods as well. Landed. We got some nice little control horns in here as... yeah, no, it's push rods, isn't it? We're talking about. Get back, spit your words out. Let's have a quick look at these. Again, is this the kind of quality which you expect from a $35 kit? Not normally, half the time you this half the bit's bloody missing. But look at that. Look how cool that is. It's even got the threads put on there so that you can adjust it too. Normally, they're just utter rubbish or just Z-bends on either end. Again, I'm thinking Mini Skywalker as a reference there. Yeah, Mini Skywalker, excuse the motor, like I said, thrust vectoring. Mini Skywalker, I had to go and find my own little clips on there. You were just left to your own devices to do the Z-bends on there. So that is a nice touch. I'm just trying to get that one to balance on the floor over there. So yeah, we got one for the, I presume is the rudder, and I got two longer ones, and I don't really know why. Like I said, Matt didn't really pay much attention to the things. Elijah said you could chop the dihedral out and make it a little bit sporty. Those of you which own like an AXN or a Bixler, for example, and have maybe grown up a little bit now beyond that wing, is that you can very easily just clip the wings off in the end, the bit of which slopes up, do the same on both sides, so cut off one end, put it on the other side, use it as the reference, chop the end off, and it will fly faster and turn it into a much more sportier model. So I tell you what, let's go and get this thing together. I am just a little bit curious on the construction. So it is very, very similar to the construction of the Mini Skywalker. So that is a nice thing to see, is that we do have a spar here in the back. That is a nice touch. There is, what shall I say? A lot of interpretation of where that spar could go or should go, because it's all over in there. There is no direct line for a servo to go into the elevator, so that is a little bit of a curiosity, or into the rudder or the elevator. And there is a molded rudder on the back, by the way, but there's no servo holes in here. Oh yeah, there is a servo hole on the top, which looks, and there's a question mark in my head, is that I don't think I am going to fit. No, I'm not. So I've been using the Turnigy 1440A servos, which are really great little couple of gram servos, and that's no way that that servo is going to fit in between those two holes. And I think those two holes which we've got on the top, and let me just show that up there, there's no way that's going to fit in there because that's just way too big. So yeah, question mark around the servos which I'm going to use. So yeah, that is a bit of a curiosity to say the least. So let's put that down out of the way. Also, thinking aloud, there is no obvious mount for a rudder either. Also, compared to like the Mini Skywalker, where you can put which I'll show you. There's me talking about you could do. I'll show you what I have done, is that you'll see down here on the fuselage, which you'll see on the top camera, you can put a servo in the side, run the snake all the way along down to the rudder, and that's how you can have a rudder on there. And again, it's not the most effective in the world. Mine definitely does stick as well, but it does kind of work. But it does keep the weight out of the tail, which is something, if you wanted a rudder on this one, you'd either have to run your own snake down there, or yeah, that is a little bit tricky, to say the least. So anyway, let's go and get this one quickly built up. I'll put these bits on here as well. A bit of a reverse dihedral in the rear fin, which is a bit peculiar. Let's stick the wings on as well. I'm just going to ram him in there. Oh, I haven't spotted a spar yet. Anybody spot a spar? There's got to be a spar for those wings. I am just going to quickly go over there and check the box. And remember, it's not too early now to vote whether it's a bird or a turd. You can do that in the top right-hand corner. You bar stewards! You absolute... Have you ever done that before? You've been and received a model. You've taken all the parts out at the top of the box. And then you find there's the missing part on the box, which your missus could have thrown out. I've had that before. Not fun times. And no warning that the main spar was on the bottom of the box. So if you get one of these, birds or turds, is that make sure, remember that this is a serious YouTube channel where we take reviews very, very seriously, is that if you receive a model, do just check the bottom of the polystyrene box, because you might have a spare part down there, and it could be mission critical, like the main spar for the wings. But hey ho, right, let's put that quickly together. Oh, we kind of lost the spar out of there. We'll stick that up on the top of the tail. And we do have some little weird motor mount down here, which I'm not going to bore you or frankly embarrass myself. I'm trying to work out how I'm going to fit that in there. What I am more curious, and I'm sure it's the case for you, is how big of a prop can we fit in the back of there. And this is where Matty's looking for a ruler, which he does have. I'm going to have a quick look at the back end. Ooh, you are pushing it. And I mean, that's even if you get the motor up on the top. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Spare part. You'll see this on the top camera. Is that even if that motor is mounted right in the middle, okay, you are going to be pushing it for a 5-inch propeller. You really are going to be pushing it. So you might end up being forced into a 4-inch propeller. We will, again, once I put this model together, I'll know for sure. But right now, I think I can get a 5-inch propeller on it. But there is a little bit of a question mark around that. Realistically, you're going to put that on there. Also, for the size of the bay up here to fit a motor in there. Again, like I said, I quickly scanned the instructions. I didn't really see how these parts are going to go together. So I should probably read them and find out how it's going to do. There isn't much in the way of a battery bay. I'm here itching my neck because I'm a little bit concerned because with the Mini Skywalker, again, this is my reference, this is my comparison because this is the next best model to compare this to, and again, excuse the thrust vectoring on here. With a Mini Skywalker is that you can very easily fit in a wide range of batteries into the nose. Look, I'll just put my ruler out there. We use inches, so there's maybe a 3-inch gap in there, and you can go, I'll use the shorter bit, maybe 1 inch wide. Okay, well basically you can cram a 1300 milliampere 3S battery in that nose and hit CG. You can run it on 2S batteries. I also run mine on a 2S LiPo battery as well. Works brilliantly in the nose because it is a little bit wider. Now, if we pop that one down and out of the way and take a quick nose at this one, there's no way in a blue monkeys, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to go over and grab one, so you'll have to excuse me while I'll go and grab a different battery and see if I can find one to ram down its nose. Oh, look, there we go. Yeah, that is going to be a bit tight. So, a 1000 milliampere 2S, not an issue at all. Right, just trying to keep an eye on your chat as well. Zenith, you've just been spotted at the bottom of the box. Yeah, a 1000 milliampere 2S, not an issue. That's going to go in there like a peach. However, you're going to end up splitting seams with, and I'm doing my best to hold this together at the same time. You're going to end up splitting seams or having to carve some of that fuselage out to get only a very mildly puffy and I genuinely mean that, it's only got a slight bit of puff in there. 1300 milliampere 3S in there. So maybe if you've got one of the smaller, thinner 3S 1300 milliampere packs, then it will fit. And you have to excuse me because I'm live at the moment. Thank you, beautiful. Sorry, that was the wife walking into the orifice. Sometimes you think back to yourself what you just said, and then it hits you what you just said. Carrying on. Yeah, you'll have to carve some foam out, but you'll be fine if it's one of the smaller batteries. The one other point which I'm going to mention about this model, before we get on to another one in a moment for Chris, is that this model does have dihedral built into it. Now, why is dihedral? I'm saying, well, we're not doing its complete benefit, are we? We just get that little lid in there and we'll have a quick nose. So there's the model. In fact, I'm going to put this side by side with its floppy tail, and we'll put the Mini Skywalker up here on here as well. It's made out of APO, sorry, I've got my foams mixed up. The white foam is EPO foam. It's light, it's cheap, it's quite easy to repair, and that's what we find on the majority of the models today. Unfortunately, they're not all EPP. The Mini Skywalker, again, think about the price point. We're only talking $35, so price point's low. The Mini Skywalker, same kind of price, made out of the same foam, same white stuff on there. I did use a bit of black laminate on there. Again, Hobby King black laminate is really good. Jews wear Jews good. That did come out really well. One of my favourite coverings. The white laminate, which you can get from Hobby King, is an absolute toad. And you've got to laminate your model first with clear laminate and then put the white laminate on top. And I digress very quickly. So let's get ourselves back into topic. The Mini Skywalker is a great all-rounder. The guys at the Funny Farm, they will fly theirs in any weather. And I mean any weather. Ending up like, it doesn't even matter, it's like 40-mile-an-hour wind. They'll still chuck theirs in the sky just for poops and giggles, you know? So the Mini Skywalker is, I was fancy, to be honest, just a little bit jealous of the guys up there. That's why I bought a new one for myself. And it flies absolutely brilliant. The only reason the motor's broke is because I've been teaching my daughter to fly, and we've just gone through a shed load of models. And when one breaks, we just move on to the next one. It's just the way it is. Anyway, the difference which I'm trying to make is that you'll notice that the Mini Skywalker is a flat wing. If we can compare this to, if I can pick this up, there we go, the Explorer, is that it's got dihedral. You'll see that these wingtips come out on the end. And actually, I'm secretly thinking, I'm not going to go typical Matt fashion with this one, is try and stick a stupid great big motor on the back. I'm going to go sensible on this one, because I actually see this one as being a great trainer for my daughter. I think she's going to get on really, really well with it. So yeah, it will only be 2S, maybe 3S, as the case may be. I've got some little 1407 motors, which I'll pop on the back. Obviously, those of you which are going to maybe go a little bit wide boy, you could maybe put a racing quad motor on there, 2205, 2300 kV, maybe even a 2600 kV. That would be good fun, to say the least. So from my point, daughter, this would be great. And the reason why it's great, and I haven't explained why, with the dihedral, these bits on the wingtips, is the model will self-correct itself, like horizontally in the sky. So is that if you get buffeted around, it would bring itself back to center. That's what these pieces, these little tips here do. So that was going to make it a fantastic trainer. There's nothing stopping you from converting this to FPV. There is definitely enough room in that nose. I'm looking at it, and I'll make the point. I'll go and grab a run cam Swift Mini, and I'll just pop that in the nose. I'm sure it will fit in the nose with a little bit of jiggling. Yeah, not an issue. Let me just make a point. I'm just going to pop that, jam that in there, and there. See, like I said, it is going to need a little bit of fettling in there. You'll see that on the top camera for it to come through. Yeah, I'm sure I can get that in, not an issue at all. Again, it may help CG a little bit, especially if I end up putting 2 servos in the tail instead of just 1. Maybe she goes on to FPV it, or maybe she just goes on to break the FPV camera in a special landing. So yeah, like I said, I am going to take this one seriously, as in like where the smeg of the servos going for the ailerons. Has anybody just noticed that? Am I just late to the party? Is that where on earth do you put, there's no moulding, I've just literally just spotted this. There's no mount in the tail for a rudder servo. Okay, let me just show you both sides. Okay, and I'm not making it up. There's only one hole in there for the elevator servo, which is very questionable because that's going to be a very tiny servo. In the fuselage, there is not a single hole for a servo in there anywhere. And there's two great big long control horns, push rods. I think I might be missing something, so I'm just going to have a quick look, closer look in that fuselage, just to see if there's something daft in there for servo mounting. And let me just show you the hat. I'll run this across the top camera so you can see it. So there's where your battery would normally go. Maybe you get your FPV camera right up there in the nose. We move it across, we got the hole for the wing spar, which is just there. And you'll see that there's no real spaces in this wire. There's wire in here, which you could have, which would need to be for the motor. And then there's some structure going on all the way along. But there is nowhere on the wing, or on the top of the wing, for servos. But they have been cut out the placement for ailerons to go in. How peculiar. Have I missed something? Those of you which are on the live version, have I missed something along here? How on earth do we mount these servos? I haven't even... I just assumed that we would have holes to mount servos in them, but there doesn't appear to be any holes for us to mount any servos in them. So that has raised a big question mark around this model. Like, how on earth are you supposed to use ailerons when you left your own devices just to hack a hole in it and off you go? Right. I'm just going to have a look at your chat. And by the way, you have been... and sorry, I've just read Lauren's comment. You've seen that in there. I've been called top heavy before. Sorry. You've been seeing the chat has been going along. I'm just going to pause a moment to take a look at your chat. Brad says in there, looks great for a trainer. Brad, I agree with you. This one should be a great trainer. There's this like niggling question in the back of my mind. Like, I've said all these positive things about it, but WTF, where am I supposed to put aileron servos? Make your own. That is a thumbs down on that kit. Let's put it on there. Mika says, maybe the parts are in the plastic bag. We'll have a look on there. That's a good point. I will take that. But there's just note, Max, let me just make the point. There is no obvious holes in there. Mounting points for the servo. Hello. I've just spotted it. And you're not going to believe what they're expecting you to do. And that explains why these are so bloody long. These are... Put that in there. They're, what, 7 inches long, those push rods. And I wonder, why are they so long? I've just been and got it. You won't believe this. In fact, I'm going to have to take a wing out to show you how they're intending you to do this. Let's take these wings out a second. And I want that one on the top so I can show you how peculiar. And it's, take this in half. How? Oh, what the? I've never seen this before. Okay, completely caught me off guard. Let me show you. So in this top up here, make sure you can see it. And I'll put some biro in there so you can see it. See the blue pen, which is in there, okay? That is a tiny little slit. I just spotted it by accident. So if we think about that wing going on there, the control horn placement is right in the bottom of the wing. And that, again, put a question mark in my head. Again, probably should have read the manual. I've genuinely just discovered this. And that's the idea. You put the control rod all the way out and it comes out. That means that they are expecting you, look in there. So can you, and again, I've just put a blue line inside. They are expecting you to put the servos, can you see that in there? Inside the front of the nose of the model. So the servos are expected to be placed here somewhere, right where your battery is. How peculiar. I've never come across that before. What a very strange, that's the best word which I'm going to use, strange, not normal or weird way of being able to set. So your servo, I'm guessing I'll just draw in there. That's why I expect that you're supposed to put your servo, or maybe even mount it down here, make your servos down here in each half, and then wherever it goes up there. It's I won't be doing that. I suggest that you don't do that either. That is very, very peculiar. I'm just going to stick them in the wings and run the cables up underneath, because that just makes more sense to me, to be frankly honest. How peculiar. Have you ever seen that in a model before? I've not seen that in a model. Not with even any obvious mounting points for the servos in the nose area. Very, very peculiar. We'll see how this one pans out. And again, on a serious note, this is only the unboxing and for a bit banter, basically a bit of banter and a bit of a chit chat about models in general. I've never seen anything like that before in a model. It kind of makes sense because you get the weight forward for the centre of gravity, but then you limit yourself with the battery which you put in, because when you put a battery in, you're going to be hitting the top of the servo, so that doesn't really make any sense. So what I'm going to say with this model, feel free to make your vote now after you've now been and seen the Explorer, what was it? Let me get this right. 2SX-750. And whether it's a bird or a turd, you can get to vote on this in the top right-hand corner of your screen. There's an I symbol. Click on the I symbol and then place your votes. And on this Wednesday's RC Coffee Chat, I will look at your votes and see what you feel as a community about this model. Is it a bird? Is it a turd? I just genuinely, at this moment in time, I don't know. I don't know. And on a serious point, this is exactly why we hold our final judgment on models until we get them out and we go and fly them. So, first impressions, peculiar. It has some good attributes. I like the idea of it having dihedral in there. Probably not for me personally, but then saying that, I really enjoy the Mini Skywalker, so I could end up quite becoming to love it. I just genuinely don't know at the moment. It would be great for a trainer. There is a lot of plastic in here, which needs to find homes in there. So that is going to be, I don't think it's going to be hard. I just need to read the instructions. And I'll tell you what, rather than me study reading them, I am just going to put them up on the screen. And by the way, those of you which want to look at this in more detail, feel free to hit pause and then rewind and then look at the instructions. So I am just going to run those across the bottom camera so you can take a quick look. And I will just turn over the page as well so you can see as well. And by the way, like I said, the English is actually very good in the manual itself. So yeah, and they are recommending a 750 mAh LiPo battery. So yeah, a little bit cutie. I'll tell you what, screw it. Let's go and have a quick look at these instructions. Yeah, no mention of the servos at all. There's no mention in here at all about the servo placement. Very, very odd. You have to excuse me. Excuse me. So, Lauren, I'm gonna agree with you. So you've seen Lauren's comment in there. Turd if not modded, bird if Matt mods it. Yeah, I think the simplest one here is that I probably want to put a servo in the tail for the rudder. And I've got some way of sorting out the servo for the elevator. That has to get done, obviously. Excuse me, I'm just going to pause and grab me a cup of coffee if it's still there. Yes, it is. And again, those of you which are watching live, you know that I've been stood here chatting for a good half an hour or so. So I think you'll allow me a quick sip on for some coffee. What I'll end up doing, and I'll post a video afterwards and I'll show you the mods which I've made to it to suit my own needs. I think that's the best thing which I can do for you is go, well, right now, what's going on with the servos? And what I'll do is I'll make a little video afterwards and I'll show you what I've done to get mine flight ready and to an acceptable standards for myself, so that you can learn and take away those what process and what things I did to get mine to the flight line, so that you could replicate it, not necessarily for this model, but for a similar situation if you were to so find yourself in, as the case may be. So yeah, this one is definitely worthy of a follow-up video, because it's not as easy as a Mini Skywalker. Because let me just make a point with the Mini Skywalker. Yes, I needed to put some extra carbon in there, blah, blah, blah. Didn't like the control horns and so on and so forth. And it's quite tight to work in there, and you have to run a cable down the side and things like that. There's a few negatives which you can say about it, but they do fly very well. So everything for horses for courses. However, one thing is that with the Mini Skywalker, as you see the servo there in the wing, there is a hole for the servo in the middle of the surface. and it's all straightforward and go. This one, it's got holes for the control horns to go through the model. However, there's no obvious placement for the servos unless you put them upside down. But even then, I feel that they would be interfering with the amount of battery which you can get into the model. So yeah, I'll be sticking mine in the wings, and I think that's the best place to go. So good point out of there, Lauren, as well. Rich says, what's in the middle of the bird or turd? I don't know. It's probably custard. No, on a serious point, it will be EPO foam. I'll just quickly run this past your screen so you can have a quick look. Yeah, I'll be mounting my servos out on the wing somewhere. I'll just quickly run that. So just for you, Richard, I'll just move that along so you can take a look at the fuselage section. And obviously the opposite side is mirrored for that. So yeah, bit of an oddity one, that one. Few question marks. Watch this space. Who knows what's going to happen with the Explorer B? Remember, you do get to vote. That's in the top right-hand corner. Davey, do you know any gynecologist, Matt? This is going to go south very quickly. Unfortunately, I don't. And as sexy as a gynecologist's job may be, you've got to admit, if you were looking at Badger every single day, you would kind of, after a while, lose your interest in it. So, no, I'm personally not a gynecologist, and I frankly feel sorry for a gynecologist for having to see so much Badger every day to the point that you don't really want to look at any more Badger. So, Davey, yeah, serious question. Like you said, we do serious, hardcore reviews here to rag the nuts off. And we definitely don't take the piss. So, very good question there, Davey. Right, moving on. That's it for the Explorer B. Oh no! Watch this space on that one. Is that a fair summary? Is that a fair summary? If it's a fair summary, do me a favour, hit the thumbs up. If you don't think it's a fair summary from what you've seen so far, let me know either in the live chat if you're watching this live, or Lauren, you've seen the comments. If you're watching the recorded version, let me know in the comments section underneath. Now, there was a comment, and I am going way off topic now. There was a request from Chris about a quick update about the GB. So let me just give you a quick update on the GB. She has flown twice, and not very well twice. I have been and changed the motor now, and I'm waiting for a calmer day and a bigger space for me to get this one out and get it flown. I think what I need to do with this one is get someone else to lob it for me, because I can't get back on the sticks fast enough, because this thing is a right handful of fun. So I've had a few misadventures. It's been stuck in a hedge, and it's also been stuck in a tree as well. It is completely skitty to the point that I am seriously interested in it. But I'm waiting for the right day, and also, to be brutally honest, I made a bit of a screw up, and I should have taken it with me to the flight line on Friday, but I didn't. So I will be out flying later this week, so I will take it out, and I'll make sure that I get some footage for you, Chris. The little GB does look like a little bundle of fun. If none of you have seen this before, look back to an older unboxing on this one, and I did a little couple of build updates on it. It is very, very tiny indeed. It's only going to be run on 2S. It was supposed to be a pylon racer, and what that meant, it only had one aileron working on it, so it only did like one-way direction turns or something. Very, very peculiar little model, to say the least. And anyway, converted it over. Seems pretty good. Like I said, it's skitty, to say the least. It's going to be pushing my pilot skills, I reckon, by the end of it. But I hope that I can tame it down, and hope we don't smash anything up on it, because it does look like a bundle of fun, and it is a bundle of fun in the sky, albeit a little bit tricky. So Chris, that book was for you. I hope that helps, fella. So yeah, not forgotten at all. Right, it is time for me to wrap up. Let's have a quick look. Steve, let's not go there. You can see what's going on in the live chat. It is time for me to wrap up. I am just going to quickly recap what we've been and covered here this evening. This is the Explorer B 750. This model was bought out of my own money for my own abuses. This was not a freebie for review. This model has a big fat question mark over it, like what on earth do we do with the servos? T-tails, as we know, and I'm sure you probably now know, not the best inventions in the world. T-tails are just an absolute frigging nightmare because they just snap off. They are the models like this with a T-tail on the back are a royal pain in the rear to transport. They're a model which you can't just stick in like an IKEA bag and chuck over your shoulder and wander off to the flight line, because when you get there, you probably have spare parts, and that's not a good thing. Like for like comparison so far. Okay, so far to the Mini Skywalker, which was always going to be my point of reference. Let's have a quick look. The Mini Skywalker is cheaper. It is easier to build. And we know that the Mini Skywalker is bloody good fun, and you can fly it in city wind conditions, and you can have just so much fun with it. Variety of motors on the back. The motor will fall off. You will snap the tail in half. You will break the T-tail. You will do lots of bad things to this one, but to be honest, a little bit of hot glue and it will soldier on. It does have placements for servos, both for the elevator and also the rudder, and also for the ailerons. The Explorer, what was it? It's just called the Explorer ZSX-750. And by the way, I did buy the kit version because it was only $35 plus shipping, so it was nice and cheap. I'll put my own parts in it. There's one hole for a servo, which is in the elevator, in the tail. There's no hole for a rudder servo, no materials or parts to set up a rudder servo, so that is definitely an optional accessory. And the placement for the servos for the ailerons is very peculiar, to the point I don't really know what on earth you're supposed to do it, and there's no mention of it in the manual either. So I'm going to soldier on with this one. I'm going to adapt this one to my own liking. Like I said, the one positive, and this is a big positive, I am going to point this one out as a big, and this is Matt putting his sensible hat on, which he does wear not very often, is that because it's got dihedral, because it's got these funny bits on the wings, that will keep the model stable in the sky. That does mean it would be a very suitable trainer, or potentially a very suitable trainer, although I would personally argue for a little bit more money you could have maybe an AXN Cloud Surfer, for example, the model which I grew up and learned to fly with, or maybe a Bixler or something like that, that kind of design. So yeah, it is a curious one. Watch this space. I don't actually feel that confident to say yay or nay at the moment, in my case. Look out for the RC Coffee Chat on Wednesday, which is, by the way, I've mentioned the RC Coffee Chat a few times. If you didn't know, and let me just pause to drink some coffee, is every Wednesday we host a live RC Coffee Chat, which is that we sit down over there at the desk and we have a chit chat about RC in general. We'll find out what's been on the build bench. Like, for example, this week we will definitely have a chat about the Explorer, on the progress for that one, and then anything else which is going on, as the case may be. So yeah, watch this space. I can't say this is a great model because there's obviously flaws on it, and remember, we always hold our final judgment until we get the model in the sky, because we've had models here before many times which have been peachy on the desk. They have looked the dogs. You know what? A gynecologist would be interested in those, and some of the stuff which we've had on this desk. However, we've also had models here which have been absolutely dogs to build, and the second we've thrown them in the sky, they have been absolute peaches, and every single moan and gripe has been forgotten. So that is exactly the reason why we hold our final judgment to get into the sky, to get a model into the sky, because yeah, I may have to mod this one, but it might be an absolute peach, and then I'll be able to stand there in front of you and go, well, to be honest, it was a pain in the ass because you had to fit the servos, and this is what I did, but the second I flew it, it turned out into absolute beauty, and my daughter's going to be able to fly it happy days with what is not very big modifications overall. But we don't know that just yet, so if you've not subscribed yet underneath this video, where it says rag the nuts off, hit the red subscribe button, hit the bell icon, because the next video could either be an RC Coffee Chat, or it could be the maiden of this model, or it could be some more Richarding around with RC in general. Happy days. Right, it is time for me to go. Chris, yes, I'm glad that helped as well. Max, I Hope that you've been enjoyed this live session. Like I said, this has been recorded live. All screw-ups and mistakes have been left in. And with that said, if you have any questions or comments about this model, you can do that in one of two places. You can either do that in the comments section underneath this video on YouTube, or you can nip across to the Faceballs group, and there's a link to the Faceballs group where you can join 2,600 cool pilots like me and you, if you've been there and pressed the like button on the right hand side of the screen and we've let you in. Okay, which, by the way, if you hit the like button, one of us will pick up your request later this evening. And there's quite an active community in there. And if you'd like to get on with the girls and boys in the group, nothing is better than going, "Hi, I'm a new member here. Matt told me to post you this picture." And that picture is not what a gynecologist would see. Instead, famous note, if you stuff a model in, take a photograph. Post one of your photos of one of your best landings and do share that in the Facebook group. Anyway, it really is time for me to go. I can't say much more than just to say thank you to you for taking the time to watch this live episode, and I shall see you again shortly. So on that note, from myself, Matt, I'm off. Cheerios! Now I need to get back to that desk and hit the stop button. Thank you for joining. See you again shortly. Cheerios!